So today on Beyond the Camera, the episode is going to come out just a little bit differently than how it's been in the past. And that's largely because what we're sharing today comes directly from my heart. And things on my heart, I take to my journal and I write. And I'm going to address it right up front. This does say bad ideas, but I promise this was purchased as a prop and I have used it ever since then as a journal. Full of good ideas, full of stuff straight from my heart. And so that's how I'm just going to start. I'm going to start just reading exactly what's inside of my journal entry in hopes that this is something that's helpful for you who's listening. Hey, welcome to Beyond the Camera with Erica and John.
We're a husband and wife brand photography team, business owners, and homeschool parents building a life centered on faith, family, and purpose.
There's a whole lot of content out there teaching you how to take better photos or grow your business, but not much about why you're doing it or who you're becoming along the way.
So this is a little different. This is a photography podcast where we talk about faith, purpose, and building a business that supports your life, not just your portfolio.
Because your camera is just a tool.
But your purpose is the bigger picture.
So let's dive in and go beyond the camera. Okay, so from my journal entry on August 8th, 2026. In an industry that appears to have it all together, there's something heavy on my heart to share with you. But first, it's important for me to say right up front that I'm not blaming the photography industry for any of what I'm sharing. I'm not blaming the photography industry. I just want to share from my own personal story how I have used the photography industry to hide something that was really unhealthy for me. I honestly wondered about this. I wondered if God was going to bring all of this part of my story to the forefront and ask me to share it with you. And he did. So here I am about to share one of the hardest parts of my story. And I'd imagine that someone might be asking, why? Why are you going to share it if it's so hard? Why are you talking about something that might be so difficult for you? And it's because that it's not about me. It is my story, and that is the part that's for me. But now this has become a part of my testimony, and that's the part that's for others to hear. That's the thing that we're called to share with others, and so all I can hope and pray is that this will even just help one photographer out there who battles with perfectionism. And I'm not talking about just the cutesy kind of laugh it off, made light of being a perfectionist. I'm talking about perfectionism in a way that eats at you and consumes every part of you. Pretty, polished, and perfect. It's really interesting. I have a very specific relationship with those three words now. They used to draw me in. They kind of even seemed attractive and felt like fun and kind of friendly words to me. And then there was a part at the end of 2025 and at the beginning of 2026 when I was at the lowest place that I've been in since the last 8 years. And those three words were enemies to me. But now I just notice them. I'm detached of feelings, but full of information when it comes to those words. And they are a very heavy part of my past and now my testimony. I'm not a trained professional. But if you consider yourself a perfectionist, and again, not just the kind of perfectionist that like, I got to check everything off my to-do list because it's going to make me feel better. I'm talking about a perfectionist that is inside, that eats at every part of you. If that's you, then I would tell you, based off of my own experience, that there was a time or a specific situation when the lie that you have to be perfect came in. and that it carved a path in your brain and became a new go-to pattern or identity that you carried for yourself. Consciously or subconsciously, it happened. For me, it took me years to realize it, but I know what it was for me. And this is where I'm feeling nudged to share this part of my story with you. Because I love people to be happy. I love seeing people happy. I feel happy when others have joy and they are feeling good. And I consider myself to be naturally just a happy person. So when the opposite is taking place, I would feel the need to take on the role of fixing it. If someone wasn't happy, I owned it to be something that I needed to carry and to fix for them. Think of it like Joy from the movie Inside Out. That would have been me. If someone wasn't feeling joy, if someone wasn't feeling happy, here I came to try and save the day, to try and bring happiness to them. That was a part of me. And like I said, if that's something that you experienced, there's likely a situation that led you to that point. And for me, I know exactly what that point was. 2 days before I was born, someone who would have been my best friend took his own life. I never had the chance to meet him, but 2 days before I was born, my grandpa took his own life. And I wasn't born yet. I wasn't even here. I wasn't present to have that immediately affect me. Until a certain age, I didn't really think about it with my own thoughts. But I believe from the moment that I was born, I felt it. And how could I not? Like that was my grandpa. Like I said, I know deep down he would have been my best friend. I feel that I would have gone to him for so many things. And that's just why I know I've felt such an impact from that story, that part of my story, my entire life. And I've always viewed my mom as a superhero for the ability to raise me and care for me under those circumstances. She's a superhero. But even the effort she gave, no matter how hard she tried or how strong she would try to be, probably for me and my sister, there's nothing that can take away the life-changing situation that brings. And that wouldn't be her responsibility to protect that for me. So I know deep down I've felt that since the day that I was born. But when I did get old enough and was able to think and able to process, I really began to carry it. It's like it's all I wanted to do was to take it on my shoulders and remove the sadness that came. The sadness for myself, the sadness for my mom, the sadness for my family, the sadness for just my future life. I even thought like I don't get to introduce him to my own kids. I want him a part of everything. I just would try to remove the sadness any way that I could. I wanted to make the pain go away. Because again, I feel filled up when others are filled up. I feel happy when others are happy. And if that's not the case, I would want to insert myself to fix that and to change it. And was that out of a good heart? Of course. That only came from a good heart. But was it possible for me to do? Absolutely not. Was that for me to take on? Heck no. But did I try? I did. And reflecting back, that's where I chose to aim for perfection out of hopes that it would bring happiness, not cause any added negative feelings, and hopefully make things feel perfect. Obviously, as an adult, I can look and I can see that nothing takes away that kind of grief and pain. And that I never needed to choose perfectionism for myself because it wasn't my responsibility to carry any of that I couldn't fix anyway. But that's exactly where perfectionism set in for me. And I inwardly, almost kind of secretly, held myself to that standard as an effort to try to protect those around me and those that I loved the most. I thought, if I can be perfect, if I can do no wrong, if everything's always the way it needs to be, at least with me, then I can create happiness for others. That's all I wanted to do. And this doesn't take any more explaining to understand why that's so unhealthy. If you're listening and you can relate to any level of feeling the need to be perfect for yourself or for anyone, for good reasons, for not good reasons, you understand why it's so unhealthy. And that's why the photography industry was almost extremely dangerous for me, because it's like I got to double down on perfectionism. I got to lean into it even more, and I got to build some deeper roots in perfectionism. But having navigated it and coming face to face with it, I had my eyes open to the negative effects that perfectionism had on me, and I've finally been healed and completely set free from being a perfectionist. And my hope is that sharing this part of my testimony and calling out the danger of what this industry can do if you choose to hide behind it in the same way that I did. My hope is just that if someone's in my shoes, that you can also find your way out and you can break out of the feeling of needing to be a perfectionist while still being able to thrive as a photographer, as someone who's building a business that does have the appearance of being perfect and polished and pretty and curated all around. So if you're a photographer, if you're listening and you have experienced any kind of relationship with a photographer, it's really easy to see that photographers aim to be perfect. We aim to take perfect pictures. We aim to get perfect exposure. We aim to get perfect skin tones. We aim to have a perfect website, a perfect Instagram feed. Shout out to photographers who really put the thought into that. And if you notice one who's doing it, give them some love, because we aim to have everything curated, perfect, and lined up and polished and pretty all the time. And that's where I will share what brought me to healing from being a perfectionist, because I don't see it that way anymore. I'm removed from that, thank God, because it held me under so much that we'll dive into with how I handled myself as a business owner under perfectionism, and then how I handled business as a perfectionist. That wasn't the way I should be doing it. But grief is really strange. I haven't dealt with very much of it in my life in the form of losing somebody super close to me. But at the end of 2025, my grandma passed away. And it was really weird to experience just such a close bond with somebody that I know, losing them. That was the first time I cognitively had that experience of an immediate loss to myself. And grief is wild. It took me to a lot of places I wasn't prepared for. In an ugly way, it causes you to face a lot of things that maybe you weren't ready to face or have brought into your attention. But that's how I know God works good in all things, because I'm so grateful that through the process of losing my grandma, dealing with the grief from that, and kind of just walking through a very low season. Like I said, it was the lowest it had been for me at the end of 2025, beginning of 26, that I had felt in 8 years. And through that process, it just flashed in my eyes. And I remember I just told John, I said, I am sick of being pretty, polished, and perfect all the time. That's not me. That's not who I am. That's not it. There's so much to who I am that's not pretty, that's not polished, that's not perfect, from what I've gone through and just areas that you grow in and seasons that you go through. It's not always that. And I just specifically remember when I came to John and I was angry. Again, I was still working through a lot of immediate grief from losing my grandma. But in God's goodness, he let me go there and face the pain of that. And I'm like, that's it. I'm done. I am so done. ever feeling like I'm going to show up for anybody that I don't want to, having to be pretty, polished, and perfect because of whatever the case is. I know where it started, but then there's so many things over the years that I've allowed myself to believe that I would have to continue to support pretty, polished, and perfect. So at the start of this year, I walked through that, and that's where I found the freedom and the healing that I needed to with those 3 words.
Like you said, it's interesting that different seasons bring about different areas of growth. And for you, it was walking through losing your grandma and the grief associated with that, for that to come to the surface.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, you did come to me like angry. The best thing, actually, as you were talking about it just now, that I can compare it to is like Princess Diaries. When she's being forced to be this like prim proper thing, and then she's just like, forget all of this. Like, I think I remember you being like, I'm not washing my hair all week. And yeah, there's a mess on the floor. I love that mess on the floor. And garbage is overflowing. That's fine. Like, just this pendulum swing of like, I've just got to let this be okay for a second while I find my balance in the middle, because I've been so far over on this one side.
And again, choosing it for myself, telling myself for whatever reasons that that's the way that it had to be, but also using the photography industry to support it. I'd imagine that anybody who's addicted to something or who is in a toxic relationship with something uses something to support it. And for me, I had a very unhealthy relationship with perfectionism. Again, it was not just, gosh, I got to get through this to-do list so I can hit the little check mark and feel so good. It was deep. And that's why photography in this industry has been really unhealthy for me at times, is because everything comes off with this appearance of perfection. And we make light of it. And there's
it's literally our job as photographers to make things look perfect.
Yes.
Like that's our goal.
Yeah.
That is our focus in our job when we serve our clients, is to make their business, their brand, their marketing message look perfect, elevated, flawless, impeccable.
Right.
And so it is just like by default nature, everything from our focus creating photos to the way we show up and deliver a client experience to what we show of that experience and behind the scenes to final photos and all of the things. It is all very much rooted in make this perfect.
Make it look perfect.
Make it perfect and make it look scroll stopping.
Yeah.
Which only feeds that identity issue of, oh my gosh, I've got to be perfect.
And again, for me, and there might be somebody else out there, but because I had such an unhealthy place of where perfectionism came in. And so instead of recognizing that and being able to deal with it, I jumped into the photography industry and I was like, this is perfect. Like, I can actually feed this perfectionism side of me. I can feed this unhealthy thing where I feel like I need to show up and I need to be on point. I need to be the best. I need to say everything right. Again, this was all me. No one put this on me. I chose it for myself. But where I was telling myself those lies, I was using the industry to be like, oh, but this supports it. This feeds it. This has to, I have to now show up online perfect. So not only for my family and those around me, the closest that I don't want to ever see them feel sad, am I wanting to be so perfect and say the right things and do all the right things and help and be there and do it right. Then I had a business that I also got to do the same thing with. And it can be kind of sick sometimes how you're feeding something that's so unhealthy, but you're being fulfilled in the process of it.
Do you think you cognitively knew, though, jumping into photography, oh, great, this is going to allow me to double down on this and find an outlet for this? Like, how did you're talking about that now as if like, okay, great. Like, look, here's my spot to hide this. And like, this is now acceptable. But it wasn't that glaringly obvious from the beginning.
No, it was this like the sly, sneaky little things of like, oh, Instagram's a thing now and there's a grid. Like, oh, perfect. I can fixate on perfecting now a grid. And that will allow me to be somebody that looks so professional to other people. So again, a perfect grid. I would not show things.
Yeah.
I wouldn't show. When we very first started working with the bodybuilding industry, I didn't show those pictures.
Right.
They still are likely not up on our feed because it didn't blend in to pretty bouquets and like dreamy pastels and all of that kind of stuff. So I was being perfect to that part of what I wanted to represent myself as, but I wasn't being true to myself.
Yeah.
And all of this goes with saying there is a very fine line where marketing matters,
Yeah.
positioning yourself matters,
Yeah.
having everything looking polished and looking like a great experience someone can have. It matters, but that's not what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
But no, I did not think like perfect. I'm choosing photography because this is going to be a trap that will keep me where I'm at. I didn't. But there were the things that drew me in because then it was like, okay, now I can show up and I can show the things I want people to see in a way where they will then think how I want them to think of me.
Yeah.
And so it really created things to go deeper, to get more unhealthy, because it wasn't then just me with where it started, perfectionism.
But what was the lie? What was the allure in that? Like, what was the thing that those things? Because again, you're looking at it in hindsight now of like, this is what was happening. But what was it giving you? What were you feeling? What was it feeding in those moments? You said just a few minutes ago that anybody who struggles with an addiction to something uses something else to support it. Those things are all being used to support that identity misalignment that you had.
Right.
What was the justification for you in that as you're feeling the tension of that? That's like, oh, but this is good because. Was it, but I need to do this because marketing? Oh, I need to do this because gotta show up and look this way. I need to do this. Was that the justification? Like, I'm trying to unpack what was the thing that drew you so deep into that now in retrospect, you're like, oh my gosh, this is what it was doing, was feeding this inside of me.
Yeah, I was curating a picture for other people of who I was and also what we were doing and just what I wanted them to see, so that it would help me with my people-pleasing things that I would try and feed, so that people would book us, so that people would want to hire us, that they'd want to work with us. It all went together. I for sure justified it. It was like, this is what you have to do. Like, you have to show your manicure in a way where the background shows your shoes that has like a really pretty, well laid out like look. And also like the coffee then there too, just so perfect to make somebody think she's out just having a grand old day, when truly, when I look back at the time we started building our business, there was a lot of things taking place in our personal life that weren't so grand.
Yeah.
And that I wasn't having a great old day. I just was getting my nails done.
Getting your nails done, stressed out about having time to get them done because you felt the pressure to have them done because we were going to go on the shoot and you were going to show behind the scenes and they needed to be done so that it could be in the photo. So it wasn't even a relaxing time getting your nails done or an exciting time. It was like, crap, I need to fit this in.
Yeah.
I just got to get this done because
But
of all these
curating
lies.
it to be perfect, because you're meant to make people think one way about you. And so that's where it was just so unhealthy for me, is because like I came to you at the start of this year and I'm like, this isn't me. Like, there's so much more to me.
Yeah.
Like, there is so much going on in a deeper way that, like, gosh, I just wish people knew this, because this is who I am. And then I had to stop and go, but I was doing that. I wasn't letting them in. I wasn't allowing that to show, because of, like I said, the perfectionism had such a tight grip on me that it consumed every part.
Yeah.
And I think that's where the industry was dangerous for me. And the best part is recognizing there's nothing to blame for the industry. It was all just the crafty way of how I started to use it. And then I was like, ooh, but then I could do this. Oh, but then if I perfect this, I can control the outlook for that. Like, it got into a spiral.
Yeah.
And years ago, we had a perspective shift with that and allowed those walls to start breaking down and, all of that changing. But it's for me personally with where I'm at. And that's truly my hope in sharing this and allowing myself to open up with this part of my story, is because I know that for someone else who's struggling with that, you know what I'm talking about. And how that feels, how you approach things and how you look at things and how in your mind you're like, all right, this is not at all how I feel, but I know how to try and perfect this. And there's no reason for it. To my personal story, as a little kid, there was no reason for that. I know the heart behind it, which was great, but I didn't need to do that. I couldn't do it. And so it just goes to show that whatever the lie is for the reason to represent yourself in such a perfect way, it's just that. It's just a lie. And it's not necessary. There's no freedom in it. It wasn't until Good Friday this year, it's like I can mark it, where I was like, oh my gosh, freedom, like a lightness. Like I don't have a million things that are having to run through my mind of constantly spinning and turning because there's so much I'm trying to keep together, hold together. It was just like a release, and so freeing from that. But I just want photographers specifically, since that is me, that's us, that's the industry we're a part of, to feel seen in perfecting yourself as a business owner, but also to feel seen in the way that you are perfectionist with how you handle business, because it's not necessary. It's very much a trap, and there's a better way to be able to go about it that is just freeing and really allows yourself to shine the way that you're supposed to. I think that was what I had to notice the most, is I showed up as a perfectionist in who I was as a business owner, which added so much stress. It added so much, so many walls, so many confining things, because I wasn't free in being myself. It affected how I represented myself, like I just said, with those couple examples of what I would take to just even social media with. But the idea of pretty, perfect, and polished, like I said, I'm able to smile and just accept those words because they don't have a really tight grip and they don't have a tie on me that that they used to. But everything in our industry is that. Yeah. It has to be pretty, polished, and perfect, from the photos we take to the portfolios we put together to the marketing messaging to everything we do. That's the goal.
Yeah. Well, and you've shared your struggle with being a perfectionist. We're kind of a double whammy with that, because I have my own struggles with that kind of from a different angle. But I would say we both agree, cognitively, a lot of us know this. We hear, done's better than perfect, and, don't be a perfectionist. But actually doing that, actually subscribing to that is completely different than acknowledging it. And I've been fine with acknowledging that for forever. But actually living that out and fighting against that has been, and continues to be, for me, a big struggle, because I want everything to be done the very best. And there's nothing wrong with that. We want to do, we want the photos we take to be the very best, to serve our clients the very best. We want the education that we bring to students to be the very best, to help them make a huge impact in their life and in their family. It's so much bigger than that, right? Their life, their families, generations, legacy, all of that kind of stuff. We want it to be the best. But where's the line between I want to give my best and I need to look my best? And I think that's where, in conversations I've had processing through some of this for myself with my own perfectionist tendencies, one of the things that got called out to me that really took me for a spin with this is at the root of that is another P word, which is pride.
Yeah, no one likes that word.
And when I hear the word pride, I'm like, I would tell you, if you came up to me like, you're prideful, I'd be like, I disagree with you wholeheartedly. I don't think I'm a prideful person. I feel like I'm a relatively humble guy. I like to support and shout out other people. I don't take credit for anything that we've built or done, because I know at the end of the day, it's definitely not me. It's God who's given it to us. And because of my own perfectionist struggles, which my perfectionist struggles, without diving too deep into those, basically constantly want to invalidate what I do accomplish, right? Tell me I'm not enough. I'm not good enough. It's not good enough. It'll never be good enough. I think I even asked you this morning while we were working out in the garage, am I doing okay? I was like, does this work? What about this? What about that? And you're like, why? I'm like, I just need to hear that I'm doing okay. At the root of all of that, even that, is pride, because it's saying that if it doesn't look perfect enough, I have to come off in this way, or else it's not good. Or even owning the things that we have accomplished and sharing those with others. The lack of doing that for me, when that was pointed out to me, like that comes from pride, I was like, ooh, that's a tough pill to swallow, but I see how it's true. Like, so really the root of perfectionism is pride.
Yep.
It is this idea that, we wouldn't say this with our words, but our actions through perfection say, unless I show up in this way as perfect, everything crumbles.
Right.
Which puts all the attention on one thing, and that's you. That's me. And that's still hard for me to reconcile in my mind, even though it makes perfect sense, because there's so many ways to justify it. Well, but I need to serve people at the best. Well, this needs to look this way or else people won't receive it. Well, but it's like, but does it? Does it? No, it really doesn't.
Well, and that's another part to all of it, of the pride, and bringing that up is, now as an adult, I can look back. Obviously, as a child, as a young kid, I wouldn't say I was being prideful. I don't even think I understood what the word meant. But looking back as an adult, I can see and I can have compassion on my young self, because I knew for me why I was like, okay, if I can be perfect. And this was just in my head. This was in my own mind, given to me by nobody. Not feeling that responsibility from anyone, because like I said, my mom is a superhero with all the superpowers. And I don't have memories that I can pinpoint, be like, that right there is why I felt like I was just having to be perfect. It was, I'm joy. I'm joy from inside out. And I just want people to be happy.
Yeah.
When I can tell someone's having a good time, I'm like, yes, like everything's good. So when that shifts, it's like, oh, I want to fix that. Let me fix it. Like, let me help. Like, that's the heart that I have. And as an adult now, I'm so glad that I can have the perspective that I have. And why I hope this perspective can help somebody is because even in that act, and we can get caught up in it so many times, but if you're having a hard day, if one of our kids are having a hard day, and I insert myself to try to take it, to try to fix it, to try to manage whatever those feelings are, that's me saying, oh, I can do this.
Right.
And even in a good heart, even with good intentions, that is a form of pride, because you're saying, I can be the one. And I had to learn, I got to see and recognize somebody's sadness, somebody's grief, somebody's tough feelings, somebody's overwhelm, or whatever it is, offer help in the way I can help, pray for them, but just love and support them and not carry it. Yeah. And I'm saying that like, whoo, cool. That's it. 1, 2, 3. Those are the steps. It is so hard.
Yeah.
And the kind of active work I've been putting in for years and still am. It's not like I'm like, cool, I've arrived. I have to check myself, but I can recognize it. Yeah. And that's the part that makes a big difference and has allowed me to continue in healing from that part of my story that just has really had a grip on me for a long time.
Yeah. Well, and I think that's the side of the pride that I wouldn't normally understand either, because I would think of pride as someone being like, look at me, I'm the best, you stink, nobody else is as good as me, ha ha ha, look at my sweet stuff and my sweet car, and that's what I would think of with pride. I would think of, we were just watching Nacho Libre with the kids, I would think of Ramses. Ramses is number one at the party.
Yeah.
I would think of Ramses when I thought of pride. There's the scene we saw last night where he opened the door and just like, there was a fan wanting his autograph, and he just opens the door into her and knocks her over and gets out and is like,
yes.
That's what I would think of for pride.
That's pride.
But it is true. It's like, yeah, for you, like trying to own that for somebody else, trying to own that for me, or the kids is you saying, I can fix this.
Mm-hmm.
Me thinking this has to be absolutely perfect before it ships is me saying my efforts are the things that are going to do this. It's me. It's in both instances, it's pointing back at us.
Right. Well, there's another trap that I had to notice in the way that I was carrying myself as a business owner with the title of perfectionism. Again, inside, that was me. That was like this label I had on my head. I'm sure, it shines and, people are aware of it and they can see it, especially those who know me the best. But I operated, again, to make something, to make me, to make our business, to make whatever it was we were doing appear a certain way versus just the true, real, raw way of what it is.
Mm-hmm.
And the reason that's such a trap, and if somebody is feeling like, oh my gosh, that's me, I'm hiding this part of whatever my story is, or I'm hiding this truth of however this came to be, or whatever the case might be, it's such a trap because you're stuck operating like a robot inside of this. I don't know why this is a robot. Maybe it's more like this, but you're operating in a false something that you've created versus your true self. And the reason that one would fire me up is because that's how, I would say, how sly the enemy works to keep us from being used in who we are and who God made us to be. And for a while, we didn't share the fact that, for example, this is the first thing that coming to me, we didn't share that we had to leave Brody and not attend his championship soccer game. Why? Well, because we were guilty, or we felt guilty. We felt ashamed of it. But then the second, it was Caitlin James, love her to pieces for this. The second she almost like gave us permission to just like let people in. I felt so fired. I was like, oh boy, I'm going to have to like use duct tape because I'm about to like just rattle off just like every deep, dark secret I could possibly find because it felt so freeing. But the reason that it's a trap to not operate in anything other than your true self and the true person that you are is because you're not effective in your truest way that you're meant to be. Again, we all have the businesses that we have. Great. But you're a person behind your business. You're not a business owner. You are a person that has a purpose here on this earth. God created you for a purpose that you have to carry out. And if you're hiding behind something and you're perfecting it and you're molding something to look like something that it's not, you're being held back from being your true self, and only your true self can have the impact that you're meant to have.
Yeah.
Nobody else can carry out our mission, our impact, how we can make a difference, how we can make a change. It can't be done. Someone can replicate your everything to a T, but it will not be effective because they are not you. And so if you are not operating as you are not having a true impact to your fullest potential.
Right. Well, and I soapbox moment for a second. I know that fires you up big time.
It does.
But really both of us, because I mean, to those watching and listening, like if you're struggling in business right now, if you're struggling with your business, you're like, I don't understand. I'm doing everything the same way this person does, or I'm doing everything the same way that person does. I bought their course. I run their plays. I dress like them. I talk like them. I built my website to look like them. I tried to copy their logo in the closest way I could without stealing it to make it my own. Why isn't this working for me? It's because you're not being you. It's the same reason AI is like, what is that? It's just the average of everybody. It's not you. Think of the people that you do look to that you consider successful. And I guarantee you, there are people who you feel when you look at them, when you experience them, when they walk into the room, when you encounter them in whatever way, they're very much just them. They're not trying to be anybody else. They probably come with all sorts of interesting little quirks and things, but it's them. And I guarantee you, if you look at most of the successful people you look up to and try to find commonalities between them, you might find commonalities in the way that they think, but you won't find commonalities in how they present themselves, how they engage, what kind of things they talk about, the way they dress, any of those things, because they're uniquely them. They're not trying to be anyone else. And so if you're stuck really battling this perfectionist thing too, which really holds you back in business because you never take steps because you're always trying to be perfect, it throttles your growth, but you're also trying to fix that by just copying what you see from someone else or just giving it to ChatGPT or Claude and taking the average of that and running with it. And because you're afraid to use your own voice and you think, well, this needs to be perfect and I need to have perfect grammar and the right pacing and the right rhythm. No, all you're doing is copying something that already exists and stood out because they were them, or you're settling for the average because you're afraid to just step out and be yourself. And you're not going to find full freedom and really any success until you stand up and just start to be yourself.
Yeah, and it's so much of why that fires me up, because we aren't just doing what we're doing every day that we wake up with breath in our lungs to just be. Like, there's a purpose to it. And it was having to recognize that, like, oh my gosh, like me, who I feel inside in my soul, the like where I am the most connected on the inside, I am blocked by something I built. And I built it based on perfectionism. I based it on something that I created that came so deep and so thick that, like, I'm just back here and I'm like kind of oozing out very specific things that I'm okay to share. But when I changed that and like allowed the walls to come down and allowed myself to just be me, for one, it was freeing for myself. And that's the part that matters the most, is because it's my life. It's like, it's who you are.
Yep.
But also we had such a bigger impact because people could then relate. And that's what it's all about. It's about connection. It's about life together. It's not just business. It's like we do life together, and you meet somebody in business, but you have the opportunity to then do life together. You really can only go deep and have that kind of impact when you're operating in your true self and you're fully who you are as that person, no one else, nothing else.
I think looking back for us, this has been a really long, slow journey to arrive to. Like that moment with your grandma passing and the things that all of the emotions you were feeling in that moment led you to finally aha and realize, and then Good Friday kind of have this like, I'm done with this, has been years and years and years in the making. I mean, you think about when we first started in photography, love them to death. Amy and Jordan Demos have made such a huge impact in our lives because of the people they are, because of their character, because they taught us how to use our cameras. And Amy and Jordan, hope you still love us. Like, we tried to be you. Like, we tried to be them. I wore bow ties. This is me. I wear jeans and a t-shirt. I wore bow ties. I put on a polo shirt for this podcast and you're like, you look a little dressed up. I'm like, I know. So I just put on a t-shirt.
Yeah.
Like, this is what you get. But I was wearing bow ties and slacks. You were wearing pink dresses. Our logo, we specifically told the designer, we want this to look like it belongs on a luxury hotel bathrobe. And we got the font as close as we could to Amy and Jordan's logo because we're like, obviously the way to success is do what they're doing because they've been successful. So we need to talk in this way, and we need to swoon, and we need to dress like them, and we need to run their plays. And it was then, do you remember meeting Marika?
Yes.
We met, who became a dear client of ours that we had the opportunity to walk through a lot of different stages of life with. She's no longer with us. Marika made a profound impact on us.
Yeah.
We were in this transition season between shooting weddings and everything and thinking we're just going to work with brands. And we sat down at Starbucks with her. And here I am thinking we're just meeting a prospective client. And she just starts pouring into us. She's like, you guys just need to show you, and you just need to be you. Like, just be Erica and John. Don't be anybody else. Just be yourself. And that was a pivotal moment for it. Like, we left that going like, what was that? I don't know, but we really needed that. And we started being us, and the business started to grow as a result. I wasn't afraid to show up to shoots and just be a goofball because that's kind of who I am. And people loved that. You leaned into the stylist of yourself and the director of yourself and the creative and just like using the gifts and talents God's given you with our clients. And they loved that. And that's what helped us see success, not trying to be anybody else. And so this is like, it's like been an onion peeling back layer by layer over the years for us to realize. I mean, in full transparency, when we first moved here to Florida, I thought I needed to wear golf shorts and a polo shirt every day and like act like I'm some serious golfer because we live in Florida now. And it's just like, I literally just took all those shirts out of the closet and gave them away because I'm like, I don't wear this. I had to realize, even over the last 3 years, it's okay that I like to wear a t-shirt. And you joke that I have a uniform of a t-shirt and free fly shorts of different colors for every day.
You do.
And it's okay that I wear sunglasses with a little hangy down thing in the back.
Yeah.
So that when I'm fishing, I can just take them and put them around my chest. It's okay that I like to go fish and do all that kind of stuff and be me. And I don't have to, and you know what, it would be okay if there were people very close to me that like the golfing and the polo thing is them. That's okay that we can still have tight community and be authentically just ourselves.
Right.
And so like that lie always wants to creep in, no matter if it's in business, if it's your personal life. But there was a book that we'll link to in the show notes too that I read that made a huge impact for this. It's called Living Fearless by Jamie Winship. And really the idea of the whole book is like, you were created with a purpose, like you're talking about. You were created with a purpose. You were created with unique gifts and abilities and an identity. And your entire life, the enemy is trying to whisper lies into your ear about who you are. So for me with perfection, it's like, you're not enough. You're a failure. You'll never measure up. You'll never be good enough. Like those are the things I hear when I listen to that voice. But the whole goal and process of the book is to identify what those lies are, name them. Don't just let them float around in here. Name them, call them out, destroy them, and ask God, like, what's the truth you say about who I am? Who did you make me to be? What's the truth that I need to rest in? And I think once we find that truth, we realize that's so connected with our purpose, and that's where things just, like the perfectionism, begins to fall off. And we begin to be ourselves without apologizing. And we begin to realize these things and let go of these things to fully step into our purpose and who we were meant to be. And we start to see it as a result, like the impact we wanted to have in the first place happens just as a side effect, as a symptom of us growing as people.
Right. Yeah. There's not anybody who could work through that process of diving deep into themselves and genuinely, wholeheartedly being able to come out saying, okay, who I am at the core of the person I am is so perfectly pretty, polished, and perfect. It's just not. It's not. And if that has been a lie you've believed, that you either are that because it's been placed on you to be perfect, or that you should be that so that out of a good heart, you can help someone and not cause added pain, not make more sadness, like make, joy at all times. If that's something you've put on yourself, I hope that you can hear us sharing, you can hear part of my story that, as you witnessed, was very difficult to share because there's so much freedom to break apart from being pretty, polished, and perfect as an identity of who you are. It's not who you are. You can show up as a photographer perfect because your photos are nailed and they're crisp and you deliver an incredible experience. You should. And I'm sure that you do. Continue doing it. That's what business is. But you're also not polished in the sense that you have it all together and that you have it all figured out. And the sooner you can accept, I never will, like the freer you'll be. I hope that I spend every single day of my life learning something new, gleaning something that continues to polish and refine me, just so that I can be better every single day than I was the day before. And to the pretty part, it's kind of funny because people are pretty. You are pretty. That's just the thing, is go look in the mirror and tell yourself you're pretty. But that's not your identity. Like, you can show up in your real raw self and open your door and let somebody come in, to laundry being everywhere, to dishes being out, to real life taking place, and not think that that affects the person that you are. It's okay to live fully authentically in yourself as not a pretty and polished, perfect person. And I've written a book. It's not out there. It's definitely still a journey that I'm on. Parts of it I have shared with people. Parts of it I am still practicing. It's a lot like this episode right here of sharing things before I believe that the book is used for others to read. But there's an idea that I wrote inside of it, all given to me by exactly what God wanted me to write in this book for him. But just imagine a blueprint, like a massive blueprint. Like think of a home and you've seen the blueprint before, but think of one that's just massive. That's a blueprint of just the life and the world that God created. And inside of that blueprint, like he made you a core piece of it. I don't understand architects.
You got it right.
Architecture?
Architecture.
I don't understand it, but imagine like any of those blue lines erased or broken or not a part of it. Like that blueprint isn't going to hold. Every single part of that has to come into place until the perfect home is built, or the perfect building, the structure, whatever it is built. In the same way, God has a blueprint of life and exactly how he created it. And you're a part of that blueprint. The way that he made you, who he made you to be, how he made you to be. And if you alter that part of his blueprint, it's not full and complete. Like he needs you to be who he made you to be so you can be effective in the purpose that you have and the plan that he made for your life. And so I just hope so much and I pray so much that this can be an encouraging message to understand that who you are as a piece of that blueprint, it's so vital. Because any blueprint cannot come together if any part of it is missing. You have to be a part of it, but you have to be 100% to the truest form of who you are. And that's the best way that he can use you. And so if there's things that you are putting in place, things that you're building up, things that you're changing or making different, making something that it's not for whatever reason, whatever lie that there is, I hope this encourages you to let that go, to let your true self shine because you have a purpose and an impact to make, and none of it has to be masked with perfectionism. So thank you so much for listening today. Thank you for being a part of me sharing a very personal journal entry that I hope made an impact on you or encouraged you in some way. If it did, and you feel like this could be a message that would be helpful or beneficial for somebody else, please share it with them. Let them have that same encouragement that you had. And again, as always, thank you for listening. We would love your support of liking and subscribing and passing this along. We just appreciate you taking the time to listen in today and hope that it was helpful and encouraging.
Thanks for hanging out with us on Beyond the Camera. If this episode encouraged you or challenged the way you think, we'd love for you to share it and leave a review. And if you want more resources on building a purpose-driven brand photography business, head to ericaandjohn.com. We're always in your corner as you build something that matters. We'll see you next time.